Welcome into a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark, Paul Valley, and joining us here at the top of the program from parts unknown, he is our buddy Ken Zalis, fresh off the Press Box Fantasy Football Show. We're going to start today's show because we only have KZ for a few minutes. We're going to get into this week's picks. I should first let you know, KZ, you are scheduled to be joining me for Project Game Day on Sunday, correct?
Yeah, I plan on being there.
Better be there. You better be there.
Well, there's only one thing that'll stop me, my friend, and you know what that is. So.
Well, let's see what happens. Anyway,
out of my control on that one.
Project Game Day back this Sunday for the Baltimore-Los Angeles matchup. I'll be with you at halftime. KZ to join me post-game. It's all brought to you by Glory Days Grill, Window Nation, Underdog Fantasy Football. You can join us every game day this season for Project Game Day, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, as well as YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline for both shows and postgame as well at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. So there was good news and bad news for me last week in picks. The good news was I retook first place by myself as I moved the game in front of Kyle Ottenheimer. The bad news is KZ's also within a game of me now. KZ has closed the gap all the way to being back within a game because KZ went 6-3 last week. John Proctor actually is not eliminated. He's 7 games back after a 7-2 week, and Andrew Steck is also participating. We have 9 games to pick. We will pick the 2 college football playoff semifinals, and then we'll pick 7 NFL games this week. And then we'll have one more full week of NFL games, and we'll also pick the championship game next week, and then we'll have the NFL playoff games. So there's still a lot of time, still a lot of games, a lot of points to be had. A lot of things can change before this is over. Paul Valley, let's get to it. I guess we're starting with the college football playoff games this week?
Yeah, so your first game, you have number 4 Cincinnati and number 1 Alabama tomorrow at 3:30 on ESPN. Alabama favored by 13.5.
I wouldn't care if it was 17.5. I don't know what the number would be. I like Cincinnati. I think they certainly belong there, but seeing what Alabama did against Georgia, like, come on, man. I don't know what the number would be that I wouldn't be picking Alabama in this game. Alabama.
You know what? You can't make an omelet, right? We're going to go Cincinnati.
All right.
Cash down.
Oh, wait. Is that what he sent you? Because remember, we got to go back to that. You can't change.
No, I'm giving exactly.
All right.
I'm giving exactly what I said.
His exact words were, "What the hell, Cincinnati?"
All right.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, it's like nobody else is picking them. This is going to be a great opportunity for me to grab a point if somehow this game is close. I do like Cincinnati's defense for what it's worth. I mean, Alabama's Alabama, but let's see if we can tie it up.
Have you heard of Georgia's defense?
I have.
Okay. All right.
Glenn, you're trying to keep KO at bay by picking his pick. You both took Alabama. Everybody else took Cincinnati.
I have no idea what everybody else is
Wow.
doing. I mean, my God.
I thought for sure I was going to be alone.
I have no – have you guys heard of Alabama? Like, are you familiar with their work? Jesus. Next.
All right, you got number 3, Georgia Bulldogs. Number 2, Michigan Wolverines. That's 7:30 tomorrow night on ESPN. Georgia favored by 7.5.
Here's the issue. I know how Kyle picked this one. Like, I know that Kyle picked Michigan in this game. But I still can't do it. Give me Georgia.
Yeah, same thing. I took Georgia.
All right, Stecca is with you guys on Georgia.
No, that's not great. That's not great.
It's not great news.
You don't want him on your side. He's not good.
All right, moving over to the NFL. Ravens need the Chiefs to do them a favor this weekend. You got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Cincinnati Bengals. Kansas City favored by 5.5.
And I feel really stupid for, continuing to ride Kansas City doesn't cover last week. Jesus. It's in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
5.5.
5.5.
Damn, this is hard, actually.
Kansas City's been blowing doors off recently.
Yeah, but then not against Cincinnati. All right, I'm going to buck my trend. I'm going to take Kansas City.
I took Kansas City as well. I still think the Bengals are a fraud. Only team they've beaten in a month is the Ravens.
I hear you, but I don't think I think a fraud. I'm not joining you there, but I hear what you're saying.
All right, Stecca, lone wolf on Cincinnati.
All right.
All right, your next game, you have the Miami Dolphins at the Tennessee Titans. Ravens also need a favor from the Titans there. Tennessee favored at home by 3.5.
Speaking of frauds, there's been quite the conversation about Miami this week because the Ravens were the only team that had their quarterback and that looked right at the time, and they didn't when they played the game, of all the teams they faced in this 7-game win streak. Tennessee, I guess we accept that they're back, right, because of what they did a week ago, but I don't know that. What's the number's 3.5?
3.5 Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I hope this doesn't happen, but I took Miami.
Okay.
It's you and Proctor on Tennessee, Glenn.
Mm.
All right, next game. I don't
He's
know.
hot,
He's been
though,
hot.
recently.
He's hot. He's
Yeah,
hot.
He's hot.
I don't know who the Ravens need a favor from in this game. You have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis by 6.5.
Well, oddly, you beat the Colts and lost to the Raiders. So in a
Right.
weird way, I think you want the Raiders to win. I don't know.
But if you have a 3-way tie,
Yeah, dude, it's too complicated for me to try to figure this out right now. We'll deal with it next week. I mean, if the Ravens don't beat the Rams, I don't know how much of this is going to end up mattering.
right?
What's the number 7?
6.5.
6.5.
Indianapolis.
6.5. 6.5 Indianapolis. Indianapolis. They're playing too well. Indianapolis.
Yeah, I mean, just give the ball 30 times to Taylor.
Right.
All right, Kyle, the lone wolf on Vegas.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
All right, the Denver Broncos against the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers at home, favored by 6.
God, what is there to like about the Chargers at the moment? But there's nothing to like about the Broncos either. Give me the Chargers.
Yeah, that's where I landed on this as well. It's like the Raiders, I know they won last week, but they were awful.
Right.
Like Broncos. And I don't know what the heck to think of the Chargers anymore. Every time I think that they got something going, they throw up a game like they did last week. So, but they're at home, so Chargers.
KO lone wolf on the Broncos.
Oh boy. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
right. This could be
Right. Upheaval.
Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas.
You know what I've noticed though? Anytime somebody's been a lone wolf twice in the same week, they normally get one and lose the other.
Get one. Yeah.
Right. Normally the way it goes.
Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas by 5.5.
I mean, there's no I'm not even kidding. I'm going to go with Arizona here. And this is the reason I'm going to do it. Because what I learned from my years covering the Cardinals was whatever you think they're going to do, bet the opposite. So now that we assume that they've fallen back to earth and that they just can't be all that good without DeAndre Hopkins, I'm jumping back on board. And I get it. The Cowboys scored 1 billion points last week. Everything says bet the Cowboys in this game, which is exactly why I have to bet the Cardinals.
As did I, because I think this number is inflated. I think it's probably should be a 3-point game with these two teams. And because they scored 80 points last week, everybody's going to jump on the Cowboys. And that's when the Cowboys seem to throw in a stinker as well. I'll take Zona.
All right, you guys are joined by Kyle on that Arizona
Interesting.
ship.
Interesting.
All right, Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay favored by 6.5.
Green Bay. Don't feel like I need to say all that much.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Although, you know what's weird about that? We said this last week, and, it didn't work out.
Well, it was
right?
fine. It was fine until, the last.
But it's part of the story with them at this point.
I know.
We have to acknowledge that about Green Bay. I bumped them out of the number 1 spot in power rankings because I'm just like, look, I know Aaron Rodgers is going to be MVP, and, we're going to let him keep saying whatever nonsense he wants to say because he's really good at football. But, they have had no business being as close in these last couple of games as they were. No business. But yeah, I'm still not going to pick the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Green Bay as well.
Stecca, lone wolf on Minnesota.
All right.
Would Aaron Rodgers be the oldest back-to-back MVP winner?
I would assume, but I don't know.
I would assume so.
Yeah, I would assume.
All right, and finally, the Los Angeles Rams come to Baltimore to take on our Ravens. Rams favored by 3.5 at the bank.
Look, I'd like to get cute here, but I can't. The Rams.
Man, either Vegas. It's a weird line for me because I think this line didn't move when they moved the game time. It was always 3.5, right?
Well, I thought that was a low number to begin with, though.
That's what I mean. I thought it was really low. I mean, I don't get it. But you can't. I mean, against that passing offense, you can't take the Ravens. So
You've seen the Ravens secondary. My God.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
my
you can't.
God.
You can't. So
All right, that's a clean sweep. Nobody took the Ravens.
Man, we've all seen the secondary. That's the reality. Hey, KZ, tell everybody about Underdog Fantasy Football real quick.
Underdog Fantasy, go to at Underdog Fantasy on Twitter, underdogfantasy.com on your computer. Lots of fun, lots of player parlays, 2 to 5 picks. You hit all 5, you can win up to 20 times your money. You hit 2, you can win 3 times your money. You can not only do NFL, but NBA, NHL is back. I did one on the Premier League soccer the other day, which did not go well. But and MLB, I'm looking forward to that when that comes back. But put in your first deposit right now. Go right now, put in your first deposit up to $100. Use the code PressBox, and you'll get that $100 matched. It's a dollar for dollar match up to your first $100 deposit. It's a load of fun. You can also do over-unders. You can do drafts every single week. And as I mentioned last week, Glenn, you'll be happy to know I'm now up to 3 best ball drafts.
Oh, good. That's a totally normal behavior from a human being. Just super normal stuff that you're doing there. All right, Underdog Fantasy. Download the app. Hey, KZ, appreciate you all season long with the fantasy show and doing picks. What we'll do is we'll just call you next week maybe for picks. And that way, whatever weirdos are still playing fantasy football in Week 17, you can tell them what they need to know. So we'll do something like that for next week, all right?
I just tell them to stop.
Yeah, correct. Don't do that. Well, I mean, but people might be playing Underdog, for example.
I know.
We'll cover whatever needs to be covered, and we'll make picks with you next week. All right, pal. Appreciate you. Have safe travels, all right?
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Ken Zalis joining us here on GCR for picks. And, of course, he was with us for the PressBox Fantasy Football Show this morning. And if you missed it, that's it. That's the last one. Final PressBox Fantasy Football Show of the year. We've been doing it all season long. Brought to you by CCBC Glory Days Grill in the Maryland Department of Transportation. If you missed it, if you didn't get the memo that we were doing it at 10 a.m. and you were expecting it at 11:30, the good news is you can still go back and watch at facebook.com/PressBoxSports or youtube.com/PressBoxOnline. And we'll get it posted a little bit later on today as well in the archives. For those of you that missed it, but that was the final PressBox Fantasy Football Show of 2021.
The wife cannot roll her R's. She cannot.
That's a
do
weird
it.
bit. You know what? It was a problem for me when I was I played. What was I when I was a kid? I was a clarinetter.
Clarinetter. Okay.
Yeah, I was a clarinetter. And then somewhere in high school, I was like, you know what's really weird? Chicks don't dig clarinetters. Like they're not super into clarinetists.
They
And
do
so I said,
they do dig the flute though, according to American Pie.
well, right, yeah. No, I said I'm gonna try the drums. Chicks seem to be more into the drums, right?
Backbone of the band.
Yeah, right. It's an important thing. So I go back and and one day I announced in band class, I'm like, I'm not gonna clarinet anymore. And they were like, what? I'm like, I'm gonna do this now. And they were like, it doesn't really work that way. And I'm like, well, watch me. Watch me. I'm gonna walk to the back of the room. They're like, all right, I guess this is what's happening now. And so they were like, well, you can bang the bass drum, and like we'll see if we can't get you figured out until we're comfortable with you doing real things. And I was like, all right, yeah, go back there. I'm banging the bass drum. I'm killing it. The old the cymbals. I can do the cymbals, man. I can make that happen. The triangle. I'm all over it, right? And I'd even taught myself how to play the piano, so I could actually do the xylophone quite well, right? Like, I was like, oh, crap, show me where the C key is. I'm good, like, I can do this. It's piano. I can handle this. And then they were like, all right, it's time for you to learn the snare drum. And I was like, all right, this is the last piece, and then I'm going to become a drummer, right? Then I'm going to go home, I'm going to buy a drum kit. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be Neil Peart. I'm going to be Carter Beauford. I'm going to be that guy. Dave Grohl, once upon a time, a quite famous drummer. And I couldn't roll. I couldn't do a drum roll. Because I couldn't loosen my wrists to do a drum. And everybody just kept looking at me, and I was like, well, how do you do it? And, like, all they could tell me was, do it. Like, they couldn't give me, like, they were like, just do it. And I'm like, I'm trying to. It's not working. It was so awkward. It was so, like, I'm like, I could not, just for the life of me, do a drum roll. I couldn't do it. And I realized, like, I can't be a drummer because of this. I can't, like, it came off very awkward. I couldn't just, even still to this day, I can't, like, make the motion that would be required for you to do a drum roll on a snare drum.
See, we were talking yesterday about how I fancy myself an athletic guy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, big time.
But I can't do doing one thing with my left foot while doing something, or with my right foot while doing something else with my right hand.
I feel sorry for your wife then. I feel very
no feet are incorporated there.
Real lack of experimentation. I'm gonna.
No, but like my brain can't get one half of my body do something in a different motion than the other half of my body. It's the same reason like why I can't play guitar is I can't move my pinky finger without also moving my ring finger.
Interesting.
Like they're just connected.
Again, I just feel terrible for Mrs. Valley. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah,
You've got other redeeming qualities though.
She doesn't feel terrible for herself. So.
Anyway, yeah, I mean that's weird that you can't write. It's a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually had to teach myself how to roll my R's by I learned from the "Give It Away" song by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, give it away. That's how I learned how to roll my R's.
Got to give it to your mama. That's a weird thing to say out loud, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, so yeah, we talked about it on the fantasy show, but for those of you that didn't join us for the fantasy show this morning, maybe you're catching up a little bit later on in the day. If you're with us on video, you will see that Paul and I are wearing masks today, and that's not something we normally do. You might be concerned. I'm telling you at the moment, neither one of us has tested positive for COVID. Neither one of us has any symptoms of COVID. This is simply, the words are abundance of caution. Abundance of caution are the words that we are using. That's it. That's all we're telling, that's it. Just an abundance of caution. We are living in an interesting time at the moment, and unfortunately, it seems to be getting worse, not better, so abundance of caution. If it is impacting anything you hear, I hope that for the most part it is not, but if it is, we apologize. We're hoping that this won't be something that we'll have to do much more moving forward, that this will be a one-time thing, doing this the way that we're doing it today. So please bear with us for today's show. Coming up on the program, Layron McClain is going to join us. It's been a long time since I caught up with Layron, former Ravens fullback, of course, all-pro. And he's a podcaster now. He's doing a podcast about football and the Ravens. We're going to talk to him about that. Also, we're going to check in with Senator Justin Reedy, bring that back. Senator's suggestions ahead of tomorrow's college football playoff semifinals. And Drew Forrester will check in with us for whatever, I don't know, reason. But we'll do that because it's on the schedule for the week. And so we'll check in with Drew before the show is over. Quickly, just to cover these things before we take the break. I said this on the fantasy show today. I'm going to say it again here. We've all seen the video. I'm not going to do any more video dissection. Dissection? How do you say that?
Dissection.
Dissection or dissection?
I think it's dissection.
Are you sure?
Is it like Detroit or Detroit?
But I know you're going to dissect a video. Mm-hmm. But if it's a noun, is it dissection?
Dissection.
Or dissect?
Dissection. I think it's dissection. Rural.
It sounds right, but I don't. All right, whatever. And the moral of the story is, you guys are really overreacting to what you're seeing in a Wednesday practice. And I use specifically the pain, there are things that you would be willing to do for a football game that you're not going to do to go out and walk through a practice. And I'm not saying that means that Lamar Jackson is definitely going to be 100% or definitely won't be impacted if he plays on Sunday. It's the reminder of this is the constant. We want to know. I want to know now, Daddy. I want to know now. Everything we just live. We might not know until Sunday again. It's just the reality of the circumstances. And overreacting to one video as if it's a definite answer. I can't swear to you that Lamar Jackson is going to play on Sunday. I can't swear to you that if he plays, he's going to be fine, or that he's not going to be impacted. But we have to remember that we don't know we don't know as much as we think we do. And it was alarming to me how much people were talking about this video. And it wasn't just Jamison Hensley's video, another reporter or two. By the way, that was more than typically you're allowed to watch as reporters, or at least you were in the past. In the past, they would let you watch, special teams practice, and that was it. And they were like, get the F out of here. That there are things that players will do to prepare themselves for a football game that they ain't going to do on a Wednesday. It ain't going to happen.
Well, and are we to assume this is the first time he's tried to run on it? or
I mean,
because it could be one of those things. And again, I'm not an expert. I've just had
Right.
ankle injuries in the past where it hurts initially.
right.
But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, the less it hurts and the less you limp.
And again, pain medication can do a lot for that, right? And again, I'm not trying to tell you that it'll be magical, that he'll take a shot on Sunday morning and holy crap, he's Lamar Jackson again. But just bear in mind, he wouldn't be doing that for a Wednesday practice. There are things that you will do to play a football game that you won't do to go out and stand behind a center on a Wednesday and remind everybody that you exist. So it's just not, it ain't worth the overwhelming overreaction that we're giving it. It just ain't. We gotta, you're gonna have to keep waiting for your answer. We have no patience as a society, and so we don't want that. Obviously, if you're a Maryland fan, that was a fun day yesterday, and them putting up 54 points in a bowl game, especially because it was Virginia Tech, and, there's a little bit of an ACC thing, and you probably know Virginia Tech fans in your life, so you probably enjoyed it. Please bear in mind that was a wildly depleted Virginia Tech roster that wasn't good to begin with this season and lost a bunch of players and had COVID issues and the whole thing. That's part of the story. It doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy it if you're a Maryland fan. It doesn't mean it wasn't fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch. But just keep it all in mind as context about where Maryland is. There are still a lot of steps. Beating Virginia Tech 54-10 in a bowl game it's like when Randy Edsall went to Penn State and won a game a few years ago, went to Michigan and won a game a few years ago. Because it was the names Penn State and Michigan, we made a big deal about it. And those weren't good Penn State or Michigan teams. They just weren't good. And it doesn't mean that they didn't mean anything. It means something. You just have to find the context for it. That was a fun day for Maryland fans yesterday. It was a neat thing, and it was something that a fan base can feel good about and buy into. And Maryland needs to build from that. And that can't be their high water mark. It has to be a building block moving forward. So it was still a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
Everything we're seeing says that they're headed in the right direction, right? They're 5-12 in Loxley's first two seasons. They win 7 games this year. Taya's coming back. Is coming back next year. Dante Demas is coming back next year. The defense looks fairly solid. They're not going to beat Michigan and Ohio State and those teams, but that's the problem. At some point, they've got to be competitive in those games. The next step has got to include you don't get your ass handed to you when you play teams like that. I feel like they're headed there.
I hope so. I hope that's the case. But they got to prove that, right? Like, they have to prove that, and they still have to win these other games that they play, right? Like, they've got to prove, or else it's going to feel sort of like what I worry it might be, which is that there's always going to be a cap to what Maryland football can do, and particularly playing in that division. But hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully they take those next steps. And unquestionably, it was a lot of fun sitting around watching a football game yesterday. We just have to remember, keep it all in context. Don't make yourself believe that Virginia Tech is a national power and you just kick the crap out of a nationally powerful team, and this is proof that it was a bad team that was decimated on top of it. That's what you beat, and that's good.
They did what they were supposed to do.
Exactly right. That's exactly what you should do against a team like that. That's a good thing, and it was a fun thing to sit around and watch, and high fives all around. There was no better way you could spend a Wednesday afternoon than sitting around watching Maryland score 54 points. Fun all around. But just context for all of it. That's all. All right, we wind down hour number 1 of today's show. It's been brought to you by Mobile One. Mobile One full synthetic motor oil helps extend engine life. Visit your local Jiffy Lube service center. Ask for Mobile One. We come back in. LeRon McClain will join us next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
The latest issue of Press Box is available now, and it's our very special annual Best of issue. On the cover, we celebrate Justin Tucker as our Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, honoring his historic on-field achievements, but also the unprecedented relationship he shared with Baltimore. Inside, we recognize the top people, performances, and moments of 2021, including Cedric Mullins' incredible season and the dominance of local Paralympic athletes. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Glory Days Grill's winter seasonal menu is back with comfort classics like their house-made meatloaf and short rib grilled cheese. It also features the center-cut sirloin with grilled shrimp, the char-grilled pork tenderloin, grilled meatloaf sandwich, smoky thigh wings with Alabama barbecue sauce, and a Brussels and bacon appetizer. All of these items pair well with Devil's Backbone 8-Point IPA or their anniversary IPA brewed by Devil's Backbone. And try their seasonal cocktails, Blood Orange Bourbon Cider, Apple Ginger Mule, and Captain's Hot Cider. Find out more and get your order in today at glorydaysgrill.com. Great food, good sports.
Window Depot Baltimore provides the highest quality Pro-Via windows, doors, and siding for all budgets. The best is finally affordable. Call them today for a free in-home consultation at 410-941-3499. They also offer Zoom and FaceTime consultations in an effort to practice social distancing. A proud sponsor of the Tyus Bowser Show, you can find out more at WindowDepotBaltimore.com.
I've driven my tractor trailer millions of miles, and I've seen it all. The next time you change lanes when driving, remember, because of the sheer weight and size of my truck, I'm not able to stop quickly if you cut me off and brake suddenly. One wrong decision could change our lives forever. Trucks need room to stop. Don't cut it close.
Brought to you by the Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration.
Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A Catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a wide range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Toyota to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
We can't imagine why you'd want to, but you can watch GCR live. It's at facebook.com/PressBoxSports and try to guess whether these guys are wearing any pants.
I keep using words like last chance or final days, but like this is it. Today, tomorrow, the final opportunity for you to take advantage of this offer from Window Nation. 50% off all style windows or a house of windows for just $99 a month. It's cold. Energy bills have gone up. This is it. This is your last chance to take advantage of these deals from Window Nation, 866-90Nation or windownation.com in order to find out more. This is the last stop, as the Dave Matthews Band said once upon a time. This is your final chance here in the final 2 days of 2021. All right, back in here on GCR. A couple of people have gotten in. Let me respond to them quickly. From Dave. Dave says, Glenn, regarding the Lamar Jackson video, don't at some point the Ravens have the responsibility to say, we're not going to put a guy out there that clearly isn't 100%. Oh, if one more of you says 100%, I swear to Christ. Don't they have not going to put a guy out there who's clearly not 100%. I feel as though at this point you are risking something more significant. Won't everybody be looking to tee off on Lamar Jackson? They're going to try to tee off on. Hi. Let's do this. Remember a week ago when we were talking about Aaron Rodgers' toe, and we said, well, why wouldn't they just go try to step on Aaron Rodgers' toe during the course of the game? What you're alluding to is the idea that someone might take a cheap shot because they feel like Lamar Jackson's wounded and they can put old Yeller down or something like that. Do you hear the words that you're saying, or do you see the words that you're saying as you're forming them? Every quarterback that plays is at risk of someone trying to get to them. Now, I know that there was an era of the NFL where legitimately there were football players out there who were told that their job was to go try to injure the opposing quarterback. And some of that mindset still permeates to this day. And every now and then, you do wonder about something that you see, and if somebody's a dirty player, a cheap shot artist, or something along those lines. But for the most part, what the NFL has become is you're going to go try to tackle that player. Lamar Jackson, because people saw a video of him and he looked like he was limping, is at no greater risk of someone attempting to tee off on him than if he didn't have a video that was circulating.
Well,
if a defensive player has an opportunity to hit a quarterback, you know what they do? They hit the quarterback.
Let me ask you a question. Alex Smith, he came back from that gruesome leg injury last year, right? And the Washington football team is playing the Rams, and Aaron Donald at one point jumped on his back, and he was on the sideline. He said, "Boy, I put all my weight on him, and that leg seemed fine to me." I didn't know if that was him saying I was trying to test the leg, or
he's playing football.
He jumped on his back and sat on his back while he was still standing there.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm not saying that.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm not saying that Aaron Donald is a dirty player. I'm questioning: is he a dirty player? Is this something that I guess you didn't see what I saw?
I don't remember it. I mean, I'm sure I saw it, but what was the scenario? What?
So he had the ball, and I think he was going for a sack. And I think Smith got rid of the ball right before he got hit, and then Donald jumped on his back, and he just sat there on his back.
I mean, sat there. That's the part that I'm confused
So
by.
he jumped. He put his whole body on
because he
his
wouldn't
back.
come down, right? Because he stayed up. Yes,
right. But
correct.
He was off the ground on Alex Smith's back.
I'm watching it again right now because Alex Smith didn't go down.
Right.
Like that's.
But then what he
I don't
said
understand what's the dirty part of that.
What he said on the sideline was it seemed like he was trying to test the leg to see how strong it was. Because what he said on the sideline was, I put all my weight on him. That leg seemed strong to me.
Or it just happened to be that was the hit that he was able to make was to try to bring him down, and he acknowledged the fact that, my God, I put all of my weight on the dude, and he didn't go down. I think his leg is fine.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what about that. I don't remember anybody reacting to that and thinking that it was dirty.
Neither do I.
I don't remember that in any way. And in watching it again, it absolutely does not come off as dirty in any way. I mean, it just looks like you're trying to bring a guy down.
It was just a comment that I heard him say on the sideline, and I guess I'm speculating, but not trying to speculate. I just wanted to get your opinion on it. Because, honestly, I don't think there are many dirty players in the league. There are some. There are some players
I think there are things that we see people do that we assume are dirty, and that, like, sometimes we just forget this is a violent effing game that people are playing. Right. And I'm not saying that it means it's impossible that there aren't guys that aren't doing things that are quote-unquote dirty, but it's a violent game, football. Mm-hmm. And we are asking, and I've talked about this over and over again, we're asking guys to make split decisions in the manner of nanoseconds, right? An offensive player starts going down, you're going to make a play. All of a sudden, that player is going down. You're both moving at very fast speeds, and you're being asked to alter the way that you do something. Now, I get it. This isn't me bitching about flags or things along those lines. I understand the NFL saying, sorry, that's on you. You're going to have to do it this way because we're going to choose to protect players as much as we possibly can. And I get that. I understand why the NFL wants to do that. And in times, do I think there are flags that are thrown that I'm like, this sucks? I don't want it to be the case, but I always sort of err on the idea of I want there to be caution. But for the most part, that era of football's over. But it's what I'm going to come back to is even if a dirty player exists, the notion that they're more likely to target Lamar Jackson because they see a video of him in practice on Wednesday than they would if they just had an opportunity against a healthy Lamar Jackson is absurd. That's an absurd premise. If you're a dirty football player, in fact, I would argue you're more likely to target him if he's healthy. Because maybe you think if you see him limping around, you don't have to. Maybe you would say to yourself, he's already limited. We don't have to worry about trying to limit him. My God, like this notion that somebody's going to be more inclined to do their job or whatever it is they do because of what they see, it goes back to us just saying things for the sake of saying them. We just say anything. Like we'll just throw something out there and let's just say it. Defenders are going to want to knock Lamar Jackson to the ground, whether they saw a video of him limping or whether they think that he's Lamar Jackson, 100%. Defenders are going to want to do everything in their power. Now, the other part of the question that is more relevant is, at what extent is Lamar Jackson limited? The 100% thing, get the F out of here.
That's not a thing in December in the NFL.
It's not a thing anytime, anywhere. There is no, as I said a billion times, we're taking a video game concept of knowing what someone's percentage health is and pretending like we can know that. There is no way to know what someone's percentage health is. I've said this a billion times. I'll keep saying it. The Ravens will make a decision this week. They and Lamar Jackson and their medical staff together will decide if Lamar Jackson can play an NFL football game on Sunday. And if he can, he will. And if he can't, he won't. When we try to do these things, well, if he's at 70%, but Tyler Huntley's back, there is no percentage. And Lamar Jackson is the quarterback. So it will begin with this question. Can Lamar Jackson play? If he can, there is no follow-up to that. If they decide together that he can play an NFL game, then he's going to play. And you can say things like, well, what if he doesn't have the insane burst or the insane... That'll all go into the conversation about whether or not he can play. They will work together and think about all those things. And if they believe that he is seriously hampered, then you know what they're probably going to say? He can't play. We overthink these things because we think it makes us sound smart. It is not that complicated. The conversation will be Lamar, the Ravens coaching staff, their front office, their doctors will all get together. They'll say to Lamar, you think you can do this? He'll give his opinion. They'll talk to the doctors. Doctors will give their opinion. And if everybody's in agreement, he'll play or he won't. And that's the end of it. And is there a world in which maybe he isn't fully Lamar Jackson, but he's still capable of doing enough things that he can play in an NFL game? Yes, there is the possibility of that. And when you say, well, that's what I mean when I say 90%, you don't know what percentage that is. You have no clue. You're just saying things. It's what we do in this society, in the Twitter world. We just say anything. We're all John Cusack. We're all Lloyd Dobler standing out with our boomboxes. We just say anything. We all watched the video. We all saw the same thing. Nobody is more of an expert than somebody else. And it might very well be that part of it is they're going to give him a shot on Sunday morning. They're going to test him before the game. And if he's not moving better than he moved in that video on Wednesday, then maybe they'll say, no, we can't do this. But you might not know that till Sunday morning until he takes this shot and see how he responds to it. It's the percentage thing. God, I know it makes us feel like we're smart people, but it's the opposite of that. It proves how dumb we are. From Craig. Craig gets in and says, Glenn, you guys were talking about who to root for earlier. Doesn't it feel sort of like loser talk to be talking about how to root in other games? I know what you're trying to say, Craig, and in a weird way, it's sort of the reason why I responded the way that I did about whatever the Colts-Raiders game was like, God, none of this really matters if the Ravens lose, right? Like, You're all talking about all these other scenarios. If the Ravens lose, it's irrelevant. So to some extent, what you're saying is true, right? Like, I will care more about this, what happens in other games, if the Ravens beat the Rams. I don't know. I have to look at the schedule for Sunday and see who's playing when. If the Ravens beat the Rams at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, all these games that matter are basically at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
except for the Chargers, I think.
No, the Chargers. Yeah, the Chargers are the only 4 o'clock game. So, yeah, sure. If the Ravens beat the Rams on Sunday at 1, then you can tell me about how we should all be Broncos fans at that point. Of course, the Chargers being the one team the Ravens have a tiebreaker over if it ends up being head-to-head. But if that game goes the Ravens' way, then we'll talk about it. If the Ravens lose, you're going to be hard-pressed to get me to give a rat's ass about what happens in the Chargers game. I'm be way more inclined to root for the fact that I just picked the Chargers, and so I'm better off if I want to win a little bit of money to have the Chargers win. If the Ravens lose, what you're saying, the loser talk concept, I get it. I'm not as hard-ass about it as you are. Like, I get why people would say, hey, the better result for the Ravens is that the Bengals lose this game because it keeps them alive in the division race. It's extraordinarily unlikely, but it does keep them alive if the Bengals lose that game. But if the Ravens don't win, irrelevant.
See, it's loser talk if the Ravens are on the outside looking in because they've just underperformed. It's not loser talk when your team has no business being there to begin with, and you're looking for any way possible to get. I mean, the 2011 Giants won the freaking Super Bowl, and they were
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like,
I completely understand what you're saying, and I'm not. That's why I don't like the thought. I don't like describing it as loser talk. But I think from a fan's perspective, I completely these things only matter to me if the Ravens win a game.
You're right.
If the Ravens lose, I'm not sitting here and telling me I should be like rooting like hell for the Broncos. Like, stop it, man. Like,
chances are, even when and if the Ravens do get in, they're not going anywhere.
I understand that, but I said a million times, I still prefer them to get in.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm going to feel that more if they win a game.
Right.
If they lose a fifth straight game, me sitting here and embracing the idea of rooting for other teams, you're really hard-pressed to get me to do that.
For me, at this point, it's just a pride in your franchise type of thing, because I know the Ravens aren't winning the Super Bowl. I know they're probably not winning a game in the playoffs. It's just you want to get in the playoffs.
I agree. I have no problem with that thought. It's just about this specific thing when you say you should be rooting for these other teams. That's what he's alluding to. The idea of rooting for other teams is something that I'm more inclined to do if the Ravens win a football game.
I get it.
All of a sudden, I'm like, okay, let's talk. Yeah, let's go Broncos. Let's ruin the Chargers. Let's make sure that that I'm more inclined to have that conversation if the Ravens win a game. If the Ravens lose, it's very difficult to get me suddenly to embrace, we got to root like hell for this.
Unless it presents you a win and in scenario against the Steelers in Week 18.
I hear you. All right. Sorry, don't know what the story is. Le'Ron McClain. It's a bummer. Hopefully we can chat with him another time. We'll see. We'll see how that all plays out. Today's show also brought to you by your Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants. You're looking for a simple meal for tomorrow night, New Year's Eve. I've told you before, my cousin a few years ago on New Year's Eve was like, I'm doing chicken and waffles. I'm like, wow, that sounds great. And he showed up with Chick-fil-A nuggets and mini Eggo waffles. And I was like, man, this is such a, like somebody would say this is the broke version of chicken and waffles, but it was amazing. My God, it was such a perfect little appetizer, little hors d'oeuvre to have out for everybody to enjoy on New Year's Eve. I was like, man, you are on another level. That's brilliant. That's genius. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details. Let's preview the college football playoff with our buddy Senator Justin Reedy next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Hey, it's Glenn Clark for Window Nation. Cold weather has arrived, and that means one thing: higher energy bills. But the good news is that Window Nation is here to help. For a limited time, get 50% off all style windows, bays, bows, double hung, and sliders, plus a house of windows for only $99 a month. Rising natural gas prices are affecting everyone, but new Window Nation windows can help. Get 50% off any style window and a house of windows for only $99 a month. Call Window Nation today at 866-90NATION or go online at windownation.com. That's December only. Tell them Glenn Clark sent you.
From all of the biggest games to the smallest events, make every bet worth your while at MyBookie. Start by doubling your first deposit instantly with MyBookie's first deposit bonus up to $1,000. Double your money before you even place a bet, and all you have to do is sign up and deposit using the exclusive promo code PRESSBOX at mybookie.ag. If your first deposit is $100, MyBookie adds $100 so you can start with $200 to play with. If your first deposit is $1,000, MyBookie adds $1,000 so you can start with $2,000 to play with. With tons of great games and prop bets to take advantage of this week, there is truly something for everyone. Don't wait any longer. Head to MyBookie today to redeem your double deposit bonus so you can start winning big today. That's promo code PRESSBOX to receive double your first deposit instantly in your account. No hassle, no wait. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Duffy's Garage is a family-owned and operated car care facility in beautiful Baldwin, Maryland. An authorized Maryland inspection station and Napa Pro Care Center with ASE-certified techs. Tell them that Glenn Clark sent you and receive 10% off your service with a max discount of $150. You gotta trust where you take your car, so take it to where I take mine. Duffy's Garage in Baldwin. Duffy'sGarageMD.com.
Stay tuned. Your chance to win $1 million is coming up. Probably not from us. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
All right, back in here on GCR, a Thursday edition of the program. No GCR tomorrow. It is a company holiday, so we will be off. No bat around on Saturday because it's an actual holiday. Although you guys are going to do like an online thing. That's the story for Saturday. You guys
we're going to do a little 30-minute hit just to talk a little bit about some baseball.
All right. So you can look forward to that on Saturday morning on Pressbox's Facebook page, facebook.com/PressboxSports. So there's that. And then we'll be back with Project Game Day on Sunday and then back to a normal schedule next week for GCR. Today's show also brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today. It's been a weird day, man. Just a lot. Starting to think that maybe we could have just pulled the plug on this one. We'd have had to do the fantasy show no matter what. We would have had to do that for sure. But just the way things are going, the way things are. From there's one I've been sitting on from Andrew for a couple days. Andrew said, Glenn, I know you guys did your best of issue of Press. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate you reminding everybody. We did do a best of issue of Press Box, which is available right now for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms and the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Or read it all at PressBoxOnline.com/bestof. We honor Justin Tucker as our Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year. You can go get that right now. Andrew says, I know you did a best of issue. Here's my question. If somebody brings up 2021 to you 10 years from now, is there anything you will particularly remember about the year specifically, be it in sports or otherwise?
My wedding.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, you definitely have something. That's a great point. I might remember your wedding. In 10 years? I'm trying to think if I remember anything specifically about 2011. Yeah, it's a really funny thing. Probably not. Probably. In fairness, I think at a certain age, like to remember what happened in a certain year. I think, for example, in 10 years, we're all going to remember 2020 because we're all going to remember 2020 as the year the world stopped, right? Like, so we'll always have that. And in a weird way, that'll probably make us remember 2021 a bit more because it'll give us more of a frame of reference, right? Like, we'll remember that 2020 was the year the world stopped. So that will require us to remember that 2021 was the year where, like, we tried to make the world start again and struggled a little bit in that department. Like, in that way, I think we'll have some reflections of 2021 because of it. But, yeah, we're not going to have serious reflections of it. Paul, it will certainly be. And by the way, like, I got married in 2014. I remember other things about 2014 better because I have that connection to it. I remember that I got married in 2014, and so that allows me to remember more of the year as a whole. I also got the radio station that ended in 2014, right? Like, I have more of a connotation.
The Orioles were good.
The Orioles were quite good in 2014. I nearly had to skip the same cousin that made the chicken and waffles I was just telling you about. I nearly had to skip his wedding because I had booked flights and I was going to, this is not a joke, if the 3 games had been in San Francisco for the World Series, I had already booked a flight because a girl that I used to date lived in San Francisco, and she was like, you can come out, like, stay with us, and my company will be able to get tickets for one of the games. Then I was willing to buy, like, doing all the math with the money that I had, I was like, I can buy 1 game's worth of tickets, and then the other game we legitimately were going to go sit in the water on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had plans for if the World Series was in San Francisco for whatever game. Would it have been 3 games there and 2 games? Maybe whatever the math would have been. I think it would have been a week. I think it would have been the games, because that was still when they were doing the All-Star game, right? That was still when the All-Star game determined home field advantage in the World Series. So I was like, because the Giants definitely would have had whatever it was. I'm pretty sure it would have been the weekend scenario. Would have been games 3, 4, and 5 in San Francisco, and I had booked a flight and legitimately had plans. The 1 game was going to be taken care of with her company's tickets. I was going to be able to buy 1 game's worth of World Series tickets with money that I had. And then the other game, we were literally just going to go. She had already done all the work. She had done it before with, like, a friend of hers where they had sat out on the water in McCovey Cove and watched a game. I had it all planned. I was going to miss my cousin Justin's wedding because I had the awkward conversation. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I love you. But, like, it's the Orioles in the World Series. Like, I'm not missing that. So I have – but it's also – sometimes your team is a barometer for how you remember a year, right? Sometimes you remember, like, for example, you'll remember 2012 because that was the year the Orioles were good again. And then you'll remember it was the year that the Ravens ended up winning the Super Bowl. Of course, the Super Bowl happened in 2013. Your teams can give you barometers for certain years. So if your team did something spectacular during the course of the year, it's a barometer for how you remember the rest of the year. For sure, it's that type of barometer. For 2021,
I remember Game 162 of 2011 with the curse of the Andino and the home run by the Rays.
Sure. It was certainly a memorable night. Sometimes I forget exactly what year it was because it's just like I remember it being, and then I'm like, I can do the math that it was the year before the Orioles were good, right? Like, because people have tried to pretend like it was what was the precursor for them getting good. It's just such an absurd thing. But it's not an immediate thing for me. It's not an immediate, I can jump off there's very little that I can jump off the page and immediately remember about 2011, right? Like, you could argue the 2011 Ravens were better than the 2012 Ravens were, right? Like,
absolutely.
In fact, they definitely were better than the 2012 Ravens were. But, like, it takes me a minute because you don't remember them winning a Super Bowl, so it takes me a minute to reflect back on that and say, oh, right, like, that was a thing that happened in 2011. So, no, there's probably not a lot that I'm going to ultimately remember about 2021 that it's going to be tentpole for me in any specific way. Like, just being realistic about it. I think we'll remember vaguely. We'll remember everything that was going on in the world because remember it was the fallout of 2020. But 10 years from now, will I remember that this was the year that Mark Turgeon got fired? Probably not. I won't remember or not fired. He didn't get fired, but
I think you might.
No, just in the same way that I don't remember specifically what year it was when Gary Williams
That's
retired.
True, neither do I.
Like,
You're
I
right.
remember vaguely when it was, but I don't remember exactly what the year was. Like, it just, in order to remember, at a certain age, in order to remember 10 years removed exactly what happened in a year, it had to be really significant.
Yeah,
for you to
that's
remember
true.
exactly. Now, again, you can be triggered and, like, reminded of certain things. Like, when we just did this conversation, we're like, right, the Ravens won in 2012. Oh, the year before they were better. They won their division the year before, right? Like, they were really good. You can be triggered in that way to remember things, but to just remember it off the top of your head,
right?
Nah, I doubt it. I doubt it. College football playoff is tomorrow, believe it or not. They made the mistake of moving it back to New Year's Eve. I guess they're going to luck out the fact that probably fewer people are going out on New Year's Eve than normally. Joining us now to preview those games, he is our friend, Senator Justin Reedy. He's back with us for the Senator's Suggestions, a college football playoff version. What's going on, sir? How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm fine. Happy New Year to you guys. And yes, the college football playoff may luck out because it's stupid they have it on New Year's Eve. They ought to always have it on the 1st.
Man,
but
imagine
that's why this is a crazy sport.
Imagine not having the nads to say to the Sugar Bowl, sorry guys, you're gonna have to move your game for.
Well, and you know the big problem is the Rose Bowl.
Right,
the Rose
that's
Bowl
the big
locked
one.
it in that they always have to be at a certain time with
Yeah.
these TV contracts.
And in a weird
then the
way,
Sugar Bowl went and locked in too. But
right? And the Rose Bowl one, by the way, I have more of an ability to say, okay, so leave it that way. And if it's a year that the Rose Bowl isn't a semifinal, play the other games at 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you should play. You should play if the Rose Bowl has to be there. And I love the Rose Bowl. I think it's a great tradition.
I get it. The
And
sun
you're not
going
gonna make
the
it
sun going
always
down
a
at the Rose
playoff.
Bowl is amazing, right? Like everybody always talks. It's incredible.
It is, but you know what? The sun could go down in the second quarter rather than the third quarter, and we would all still be okay.
Also true.
You know,
Also
whatever.
true. No, it's insane. It's so dumb. And again, they're probably going to luck out a little bit the way this is going to work out for them. I hate the fact that they're going to because we have problems again in our world. But yeah, it's such a stupid thing doing it on New Year's Eve. Anyway, that being said,
and they don't do it every year that way either, which makes it even dumber. So some year it's very strange. But hopefully after they expand the playoff, this will change and there will be some more rationality. We can hope.
No doubt. Let's talk about the games themselves, Senator. Let's begin Alabama, Cincinnati. Man, I love the fact that Cincinnati's there. I think it's great for the sport that if you win your games, you're going to have the opportunity to do this. But after seeing, and I know you're an Alabama guy, after seeing what Alabama did to Georgia, I am really hard pressed to believe that Cincinnati's got much of a chance in this football game.
It's interesting. Being an Alabama fan, I am not one of those overconfident Alabama fans. I'm more of a nervous Nelly fan. But I would say this: I think Alabama, if Alabama hadn't lost John Mechie and had more healthy running backs, I would actually say this. I would agree with you 100% that there's little chance of Cincinnati winning the game. I do think because Alabama's nicked up pretty significantly that Cincinnati's defense, I think, could possibly keep them in the game. I think this will be a game into the second half pretty far. I think the point spread to me, I could see Alabama getting right to that 2-score type win, but it not being a blowout. Because I think Cincinnati has a tough defense that can hold together. Now, I think where Cincinnati is overmatched is on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not sure they can block Alabama, and I don't know that they'll be able to run the ball effectively. And so I think while Desmond Ridder may make a few plays, I think they'd be hard-pressed. I don't see them scoring 35 points in this game. So I think it's going to be a close game, a relatively close game. I do think Cincinnati absolutely deserves to be there. I think Alabama will ultimately win. I do think there will be a lot of tweets in the second quarter and early third quarter about, Alabama, maybe that Georgia win was a fluke because it's close right now. So we'll see. But my thinking is the point spread's probably about right. I wouldn't, I don't, as you know, I don't bet, but I think a 12 to 14 type win for them makes sense to me.
I do bet, and I'm hammering Alabama tomorrow. I am hammering.
Well, I hope you're right as an Alabama fan, but
I want to drive to Live Casino Hotel tonight and put a bunch of money on Alabama. But I hear you. I hear what you're saying, and I do want to respect. It's remarkable what Cincinnati's done. The other semifinal, I think, is the more interesting one on paper, I think it's a weird thing, right? Because we know what Michigan wants to be, and in a way, isn't exactly what Georgia wants to be. It seems like a kind of a styles make fights situation.
Well, I'm glad you said that, and the most interesting thing to me about this game is how many people have assumed that they're just off of Georgia because they had one bad game against a team they didn't match up well with for a number of reasons, including elite quarterback play. Georgia did not lose to Alabama because Alabama ran the ball all over them. Far from it. Alabama made some really great plays in the deep passing game. You could argue Georgia may have had the wrong plan. I believe a lot of the money's coming in on Michigan. The point spread is, I think, 6.5 for Georgia. I love Georgia in this game. I don't see how Michigan scores more than 17 to 20 points on Georgia. I just don't see. And I think Georgia has better ability to score some points on a tough Michigan defense. If they can find a way to block Michigan's pass rush and run the ball effectively, I don't see how Michigan wins the game. I don't think they have enough talent at receiver and quarterback. I don't think their quarterback's bad, and Georgia's quarterback is nothing special, but I think Georgia's they're the same team, and Georgia's way more talented. That's how I look at it. I'm happy to be wrong, and as an Alabama guy, I would rather play a different team than have a rematch because I think rematches can be difficult. But I think Georgia wins this game, and I think they cover.
Any risk of Stetson Bennett getting pulled during the course of this game?
Possibly, although JT Daniels has not practiced a lot for Georgia because he had COVID. I think it's more likely that. I mean, who knows? That's been a mysterious thing all along because JT Daniels seems clearly to be more talented, but he's been sort of unhealthy for parts of the year. There's rumors down there in Georgia that Kirby's not been happy with him, but nobody has any confirmation on that. And Bennett actually has played well, and even in the Alabama game, he threw a couple bad picks, but I don't know that you'd put the whole game on the quarterback there. It was more of a problem. Their defense couldn't stop anybody, couldn't stop Alabama consistently. But we'll see. I certainly think Kirby has to be thinking if there's a struggle into the second half, he's got to think about pulling him. But at this point, so far, it seems like they're riding with Stetson Bennett.
Any other game? We normally do 3, right? When we do Senator's suggestions. Is there any other game that's happening over the next couple of days that you say, I know you're all paying attention to the college football playoff, but boy, this one should be utterly delightful for some particular reason?
Well, now that I think we've gotten past where all the ones are getting canceled have been canceled.
Yeah,
so that's good. There was actually a couple good ones. There was
a
couple good ones this week that ended up being mangled or canceled. I really like. I actually think the Rose Bowl is a great matchup this year because Utah really wants to be there.
Right.
It's the first time they've been in the Rose Bowl, so I think I had that as my third game on my matchup list was Utah, Ohio State. Ohio State, unfortunately, has had some opt-outs, which everybody always, you hate seeing opt-outs. At the same time, I'm not going to fault the players. I think eventually they need to figure out how to have NIL work for bowl games. So that the Rose Bowl to me on January 1st will be exciting. I tell you what's most fun for me, and it's been diluted somewhat over the years, but January 1st, when you can start at about 11 or noon, and you got 3 games going at once, you usually got the Citrus Bowl, the Outback Bowl, and sometimes it's the Gator Bowl, or sometimes this year I think it'll actually be it'll be the Fiesta Bowl. But you have 3 bowls going at once. That's always fun to me because you can kind of do some multi-screening and watch a bunch of great college football, and then you head into the Rose Bowl in the late afternoon. So, and unfortunately, by the time we get there on the East Coast, it's already dark, which is depressing. But you have the nice sunny Rose Bowl to look at on your TV. So, to me, that's what I always look forward to the most in bowl season, outside of whatever my team's involved in, is that January 1st, smorgasbord.
All right, Senator Justin Reedy, you can see all of his football stuff at the Duck Pin. And, of course, you can follow him on Twitter at ReedyCFB for all of that football conversation beyond the stuff that he does in his real life, which is a whole different world. Senator, appreciate it, man. Happy New Year. Let's talk again before the championship game, all right?
That sounds great, and everybody be safe out there. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Senator Justin Reedy checking in with us ahead of the college football playoff semifinal tomorrow. I mentioned, I might run down to Live Casino. That's how good I feel about Alabama. Sports fans, the wait is over. Live Casino Hotels got the FanDuel Sportsbook now open in Hanover, Maryland. I have been there. It is a great place. The food's great. The drinks are excellent. The atmosphere is incredible with all the screens. Such a cool place to hang out, bet on every sport with self-service kiosks, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. When we come back in, Drew Forrester is going to join us. It is Glenn Clark Radio.
Hey, it's Glenn Clark for Window Nation. Cold weather has arrived, and that means one thing: higher energy bills. But the good news is that Window Nation is here to help. For a limited time, get 50% off all style windows, bays, bows, double hung, and sliders, plus a house of windows for only $99 a month. Rising natural gas prices are affecting everyone, but new Window Nation windows can help. Get 50% off any style window and a house of windows for only $99 a month. Call Window Nation today at 866-90NATION or go online at windownation.com. That's December only. Tell them Glenn Clark sent you.
Need to hone your computer skills to boost your career? Or maybe you want an IT certification? CCBC Continuing Education has the courses and programs you need for a career in the computer field. And it's all tuition-free. From the basics to specialized training, we have the classes you need, from hardware to programming to cybersecurity, and so much more. It's your choice. It's your career. Call 443-840-4700 or visit ccbcmd.edu/computer training.
Duffy's Garage is a family-owned and operated car care facility in beautiful Baldwin, Maryland. An authorized Maryland inspection station and Napa Pro Care Center with ASE-certified techs. Tell them that Glenn Clark sent you and receive 10% off your service with a max discount of $150. You gotta trust where you take your car, so take it to where I take mine. Duffy's Garage in Baldwin. Duffy'sGarageMD.com.
I love driving my tractor trailer, and just like you, I just want to make it to my destination safely. If you drive too closely to my truck, I can't see you, and you can't see what's in front of me. If I have to brake suddenly, our lives can be changed forever. If a truck stops quickly, can you? Don't tailgate trucks.
Brought to you by the Maryland Department of Transportation, State Highway Administration.
The latest issue of Press Box is available now, and it's our very special annual Best of issue. On the cover, we celebrate Justin Tucker as our Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, honoring his historic on-field achievements, but also the unprecedented relationship he shared with Baltimore. Inside, we recognize the top people, performances, and moments of 2021, including Cedric Mullins' incredible season and the dominance of local Paralympic athletes. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
You've got questions. They've got answers. Sure, I mean, we'll go with that. It's Glenn and Paul on Glenn Clark Radio.
All right, back in here on GCR. Glory Days Grill's winter seasonal menu is back with comfort classics like the house-made meatloaf and the short rib grilled cheese. It also features the center-cut sirloin with grilled shrimp, the char-grilled pork tenderloin, the grilled meatloaf sandwich, the smoky thigh wings with Alabama barbecue sauce, and a Brussels and bacon appetizer. Find out more, get your order in right now, glorydaysgrill.com. I know a man who spent probably about half his year at his neighborhood Glory Days Grill. He is Drew Forrester, and he's back with us now here on GCR. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm not going to nitpick. But the promo I heard coming back in said GCR with Glenn and Paul.
Yes. You want to be in the promo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am the show. What do they call me? The showstopper.
Yeah. Exactly right. That's exactly what they call you, is the showstopper. It's weird.
Stops it dead in its tracks.
Somebody said, how do you want to go out? This is our final show of the year. They're like, how do you want to end it? I'm like, we'll end it with Drew, because it might end it all together. It might be the true end all, be all for Glenn Clark Radio. Oh, Christ. All right. I don't really have anything to talk about with you, so here's what I'm going to do.
I can't hear you very well, by the way. Speak up.
No, shut up. All right, anyway.
I can't.
We'll bring it up. We'll bring up the level, okay? Settle down.
All right.
So this was posed to me by Ivan this morning, and I'm going to turn around and give it to you, all right?
Okay.
He said, hey, Glenn, I need you to chime in on this one. With Ben Roethlisberger all but confirming his upcoming retirement, who was or is the most disliked Steelers player among Ravens fans over the past 20 or so years?
Oh, my gosh.
So, people are already chiming in on this, and I said I was going to let you get in on it. The answers, like the ones that you're coming to your mind, are obvious. For a very long time, it was Hines Ward or it was Joey Porter, right? And for one of either because Joey Porter took the shot on Todd Heap, or because Hines Ward and his stupid smile always and his cheap shots in the middle of the field truly made you hate them more than you could respect them, right? But all that being said, I think we're being dishonest if we pretend like broadly that Ben Roethlisberger hasn't been the most disliked player by Ravens fans, in large part because he's done an awful lot of winning and breaking Ravens fans' hearts.
Amongst other things.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind, though, was Ward. I could be wrong on this. I don't know. I never felt like people really strongly disliked Ben. I always felt like no one liked Ward. And I couldn't stand him until we met him at the Super Bowl, and he was walking around with those Sharpie markers. And I said, dude, give me one of those brown ones and one of those lime green ones. And he slipped me one. He goes, only for my buddies in Baltimore. And then I liked him forever after that. Like Hines Ward, of all of the people I ever spoke with,
what's wrong with you?
I would say.
What's wrong with you?
I would say Hines Ward was the most. I don't even know if polarized is the right word, but like I never met someone that I was predisposed to disliking who got up from the table and left, and I went, dude, that is a great guy right there.
God,
I know, but you know it too because you met him too.
Yeah, I know, but I don't feel that way. I got to make that very clear.
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to
you
make that.
do.
No, I don't.
Your brand is, I
No.
can't like Hines Ward.
No,
dude, Hines Ward is an awesome guy.
shut up. God, I can't let you keep.
Now I
doing
never
that.
met Joey Porter, so I can't make that same.
You know,
claim.
I had never actually talked about it. Like 2 years ago, for some reason, I was talking to Heap, and I was like, bro, we've never really talked about this. Like, what would it be like today if you just saw Joey Porter out at a golf course, right? Like, what would that be like? And he said, straight shoot, for about 5 years, he would not talk to Joey Porter. And in fact, there were incidents like that where they were both at the same charity golf tournament, and legitimately he would have to be separated because he was still seething mad about it. Like for 5 years, he could not be around. It was real. He couldn't be around Joey Porter. He said he eventually got over it, and they have had conversations since then. But he said for about 5 years after the hit, there would be no interaction whatsoever.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Troy Polamalu.
No.
Is
no, not hate. If anything, it was respect for Troy Polamalu. He was just good, man. Like it broke your heart because he made big plays and like it made you sick.
Like devastated them a lot.
But like you had no other choice. But it's sort of the way that Steelers fans talk about Ed Reed. Like they just sort of tipped. Like the dude was just good.
Yeah.
He didn't give you much of a reason to specifically hate him beyond the fact that he played for the Steelers. You just sort of said, like, damn, dude, that guy, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, you're right, because I never really hated Troy Polamalu. I was just like, damn it, I hate that he plays for this team.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Well, I do think it's Ward. I think of all of the players that they ever had, he was the one. There was a while, too, that Burris was really disliked, but that was before the 20 years. This person said 20 years. That Burris thing would have been more like 99, 89, 98, 99, 2000 in there. I would say Ward to me.
I think you're probably right about that. No, I disagree. I still think it's over. It's the Roethlisberger thing is just too broad. It's too broad a group of people that hates Ben Roethlisberger for me to be like to think that it's anything other than that. And it's a combination. Yes, Paul. It has something to do with the fact that what happened still gives reason for people to hate him, combined with the fact that he constantly kept beating you.
Speaking of Roethlisberger, by the way, you gave me that jersey a couple of years ago for Halloween, and I never did give it back to you.
Yeah, right. I do need that back for next. The game's next Sunday, Drew. Like I gotta go show my respect.
Right.
For God's sake. Of course, at this point, the game might mean nothing to either team. Like we were talking a few weeks ago about how it could be like the biggest moment for the Ravens, and that it could legitimately mean nothing to either team. Here's a scenario for you, right? You're Ben Roethlisberger. You're playing on Monday night. It's your final home game ever in Pittsburgh. You know you're retiring. By the way, I am still not convinced of that. I am still not convinced that dude doesn't just sit there and say, I can hold these guys up for another year.
I don't know, man. He looks like he's in the December of his career.
Looked like that for a little while now. Like, come on.
Not like this, though.
Bro, I don't know, man. It's been bad. So, you've decided, definitely you're done. You play this final home game on Monday night, and you get the next week, and the game is meaningless.
Yeah, why would you play?
Are you playing or not?
Right. And the answer might be, hey, do you want to try it out there and play the first quarter and have some sort of grand send-off? But I know what you mean.
But like, what would the grand send-off be in Baltimore? It's gonna be middle fingers. Like,
right.
That's sort of when you have the opportunity.
I have a funny feeling. I'm trying to figure out how this would be possible. That they beat. Let's just pretend they beat Cleveland Monday night. Now that would probably be too late for them to do it. My theory is going to be that they're going to.
They would find a way to flex it. At this point, I think they could only flex it if it was meaningless and they just knew that Roethlisberger was going to play.
Well, I guess that was my whole thing. Would be if they flex it, then he's got to play. And if they flex it, they've already been told he's going to play, and B, then he's got to play. C, I think the game would have to matter. I don't think they'd flex it if the game didn't.
And that's why I just don't think there's any way for it to matter without it being impacted by another game. I don't think you can do the math.
No, you can. But that's the problem is it would have to include the Monday night game. If the Bengals lose and the Ravens lose and the Steelers beat the Browns Monday night, and then the Browns beat the Bengals Sunday and the Steelers beat the Ravens Sunday, the Steelers are in.
I understand what you're saying, but it includes the Browns-Bengals game.
I got you.
The Sunday night game, they have made it very clear. It cannot be impacted by another game.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
That's the way they've done it. So literally the only way I think they could do it is if it was meaningless at this point, and they had an agreement. Like, it had already been discussed. Hey, if this game is a meaningless game and it doesn't impact anything else, but we know Ben Roethlisberger's playing and it's going to be his final game.
No, you're right.
But I don't see a way that's going to happen either.
You know what's really funny?
But you still didn't answer the question. Would you do, if you're Ben Roethlisberger and the game's meaningless, would you play or not, or would you say I'd rather have my final game be in Pittsburgh in front of everybody?
I guess some of that might depend on what happens Sunday. So, like, as an example, Bengals beat the Chiefs on Sunday.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in a scenario where the game is there's nothing left.
Okay,
the game is meaningless.
But again, you've got to know that Sunday.
No, you'll play on Monday night. You're going to play on Monday night.
I know, but in order to make it a big deal, in order to make it the deal that you want to make it.
No, I don't. It's going to be a big deal in Pittsburgh because it's the final game in Pittsburgh no matter what. No matter what, it's a big deal on Monday night.
I think he plays in Baltimore. I don't think he plays the whole game if it's meaningless. But I do think he plays.
Are we saying if it's just meaningless for Pittsburgh or meaningless for both teams?
Either. I mean, more meaningless for Pittsburgh. Why does he care about? I guess you can make the argument of like
he wants to rip their hearts out.
If I got
the
one more
Ravens
chance,
can't be eliminated this Sunday.
Right.
I don't think.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they
either.
can't be eliminated this Sunday.
But they can put themselves in a situation where they would need such an extraordinary sort of.
Right. I mean, and I do think I need to think that through a little more because I've done so much of that playoff machine this week. My head's spinning. There might actually be a really, really, really weird way where they can be eliminated, but it would require a 7 things going the way that maybe not that many, 5 things going the wrong way. But I'm pretty sure they can't be eliminated Sunday.
But, okay, so the Steelers are eliminated. Tuesday morning, you wake up, you're eliminated. Maybe it still matters for the Ravens, but let's just say the Ravens lost, right? And like it barely matters for the Ravens. You really want to go show up in Baltimore for everybody to give you the middle finger and boo you for you to run around for 2 series, and have that be the final thing that you did in your NFL career is run around in the meaningless game where everybody hates you?
Well, he does like the cameras on him.
I mean, but it's not even going to be a nationally televised game. Whereas
I know.
This is your opportunity to say that my last game. You're 100% right about him loving drama and loving attention. His last game would have been a nationally televised game in front of his home fans, everybody screaming and going crazy, and that could be the last thing that he did in his NFL career, and that could be the memory that he would. And that's my argument of like, why play in the final game of the year if that's the case?
Right.
What kind of a montage are the Ravens going to play for Ben Roethlisberger? Is it going to be all of his lowlights like the Bart Scott
they're going to do something.
This is a different thing. This is not. I don't even think they're going to do the David Ortiz bit like with the Orioles.
That's
right.
Where my head was.
The Ravens 100% will do a nice video tribute to Ben Roethlisberger.
100%.
The fans will boo it.
Mm-hmm.
This is. Greg Gumbel got lit into because he came on my show a few weeks ago and was like, I talked about this. He said, I think that Ravens fans are so smart and such good football fans that they'll give Ben Roethlisberger a nice ovation. And he was trying to compliment Ravens fans as he said it. He was trying to give him a compliment. And that got on the interwebs, and like the things that were said about Greg Gumbel were so heinous from Ravens fans. And I was just like, wow, this is really what this is going to be in Week 8. Like, you're just not going to get the fans to participate in that moment.
I'm going to disagree with that a little bit, but but when I say what I'm about to say, it probably isn't possible. So I think if the Ravens would have had this thing tied up and clinched, and next Sunday would have been.
Oh, it didn't matter to them? Yeah, okay.
I think the reaction would have been different.
You might be right about that. And actually, I can't believe I'm giving you credit for something. You probably are right about that. It's way easier if they're on their way out and you're on your way in.
Right, sure.
To get the people that are there to say,
Because I do think, I will say this, the people, the maniacal sort of rabid jerk fans that don't really grasp how great that dude's been in his career. I think those people are a minority.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what it is, Drew. I think that you're doing the wrong thing there. I think they know exactly how good he's been. I just think that it's something that unites. I talk about this all the time when somebody decides that they're a Duke fan because whatever. I bring up Casey Willett all the time. Casey Willett, who I love, who has absolutely no connection whatsoever to Duke. Ray Bachman, who has no connection to Duke basketball whatsoever, but just decided they wanted to be a Duke fan for some reason. They'll say something to you like, "Oh, you just hate Duke because you're a Maryland. I'm like, no. Across the country, people are united by just enjoying watching Duke lose. It doesn't matter where you go. You could be sitting in Kalamazoo today, and if Duke basketball was playing a game and they would lose, you could high-five strangers in a bar, and people would be united by it.
Yeah, but you know why you don't like Duke, right?
Because I couldn't get in?
Correct.
No, I mean, I trust me. I accepted that fate when I was like 4. That was going to be the case. Oh, by God. By the way, this is a true story. I don't know if you remember this. I dated a girl for a little while who was like with me about like she was from Texas and she went to Oklahoma, so she had no reason to hate Duke. But she always talked about how it was the thing that we could share together. She was like, yeah, everybody loves hating Duke. Like, it's the thing that everybody enjoys. I swear to God, we break up, and she goes to Duke Law School.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, wait, what happened to hating Duke?
Right.
What happened to all that? I thought that was a bit that we agreed to. In Baltimore specifically, everyone unites over we just hate Ben Roethlisberger, no matter what. And it's not about pretending like he isn't great. It's just a thing that gets people of different backgrounds, conservatives, Democrats, Protestants, atheists. Everybody in Baltimore can agree on one thing: we all hate Ben Roethlisberger, and it's just there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a rallying thing for everybody to get behind, and you're not going to be able to get people to be on board. But the Ravens will do the right. I mean, the Ravens will 100%. Everybody knows who the Ravens are as an organization. They will 100% put a video together and say, enjoy retirement. If he makes it a fit. That is the weird part about this, though. He still hasn't made it official. This is all based on a report.
Right.
So if he doesn't make it official, if he never says openly, this is definitely my last game, then they probably won't do anything for him.
It was a little bit like what the Orioles did for Adam Jones. Everyone sort of kind of knew it was him.
Right.
And they let him run out to the center of the field and people clapped, but the Orioles didn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting they were wrong. I'm saying that they certainly with a week and a month or a day left in the season weren't going to say, oh, by the way, we're not re-signing Adam Jones next year. But everyone sort of kind of knew they weren't, and they let him, and he kind of knew, and they let him run out to midfield and stand there and get adored by everybody who was there.
Right.
And the Orioles never really did anything for him. Had he said a week before, hey, this will be it for me, I'm going to go to Japan, or I'm going to go to the Diamondbacks, or I'm done here, the Orioles would have done something for him.
Yeah, or he was retiring, correct.
Yeah, whatever.
That's the case. But it's also different because it's your guy versus somebody else, right? Like, if Ben Roethlisberger does not say that this is my final game, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to. There will be no acknowledgement of it whatsoever because it's.
And then the thing that really bothers me is no one did anything for Jeter when he left.
It was real heartbreaking, right? Like that guy, complete anonymity as he was departing. Jesus Christ. No doubt, man.
This AFC North, well, even the AFC playoff picture.
By the way, you're more obsessed with this than I am.
It's insane.
I've seen your tweets this week. You are more. Paul and I were talking about this earlier in the show. Somebody, as Paul was we did our pick segment, and Paul was setting up like, hey, we're rooting for, Kansas City in this game or whatever. And somebody tweeted in was mad, like, that's loser talk. And I was just like, no.
You have to.
And this is what I'll say. The only side I agree. If the Ravens lose this game on Sunday, you cannot convince me that I should have any emotion in rooting for the Broncos against the Chargers. If the Ravens have lost 5 straight games, I'm tapped out on caring about who wins the other.
Well, the weird thing is, and this is kind of the strange thing, right? That all of these games, for the most part, all of these games have a moving part either way. And as an example, no matter what happens between the Raiders and the Colts, it helps and hurts the Ravens.
Right.
No matter what happens between some
Broncos, Chargers.
Someone else game. Steelers and Browns. No matter what happens there, someone gets a morsel of life for another week, right? And some of that will depend on what happens with the Chiefs and the Bengals too, because the Browns could still wind up winning the division, crazy as it sounds. So, like all of these games, it's incredible how it's come down to this. Miami and Tennessee. You want Tennessee to win, clearly, right? But Tennessee winning also might move them into the number 2 spot, and the Ravens might have to go there. Like everything, it's just crazy how this has happened in the AFC and in the AFC North. It's really bizarre because they could all still win the division.
Yeah, I agree. It is weird.
Every team could win the division.
I'm not invested until the Ravens tell me that there's a reason to be invested. That's my point. My point is...
Well, there's a reason to be invested if they get in the playoffs.
I understand, but the Ravens have to win in order for that to be the case,
okay,
right?
But I'm saying,
I'm saying at the moment, I don't have the investment because the Ravens... I feel so... it seems so unlikely to me that they're going to beat this Rams team. The good news is on the COVID front...
I feel the exact opposite. I feel like the burden of proof is on the Rams.
Do you see the secondary... Like, have you seen it?
I did, but dude, you're asking this team with a quarterback who's never won anything in his life to come.
Joe Burrow's never won anything in his life either.
Yeah, he's probably won more than Matt Stafford, actually.
Well, I don't.
He
won a national championship in
college. I'm not buying the Rams. I'm not.
Okay, well, that's a different. You can have that conversation all day, and I'm not trying to tell you that I think you should buy into the Rams as being the Super Bowl front runner, and I do think it matters that Matt Stafford's never done anything in the playoffs. But this is very simple to me. They still have to line up a secondary on. Somebody has to play on.
Well, we got Chris Westry back.
Great, you're right. It's problem solved. Problem solved. I almost don't care who the opponent is. They have to line up a secondary of XFL guys. At best.
By the way, that might be being disrespectful to the XFL.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree. Although, again, if there's good news, all the new COVID rules where we just don't care anymore, where COVID's not just a hell of a bit. It is a damn great bit they're doing. They're just like, whatever. Disappear for a day, come back tomorrow. We're all good. They at this point literally don't have anybody on the COVID list anymore. Like, everybody has tested out, including Tyler Huntley, who could end up playing on Sunday perhaps. But still, the injuries don't go away. Like, they could not be more depleted in the secondary. Somebody has to play, and they don't have any players. And so it's just very difficult to get me to care about these other scenarios because they all have to involve the Ravens winning, and it's just so hard-pressed to get me to buy into the idea that the Ravens are winning.
I guess. I mean, I'm banking on, and based on yesterday, I don't even know what to make of that video because the
only thing I'll say about the video, and I said this a couple times already, I have no idea if Lamar Jackson's going to be okay on Sunday or not, but here's one thing I know he's not going to do. He ain't taking a pain shot before a Wednesday practice.
Well, that's true.
It's the part that nobody wants to talk about, right? Like, because we can't define it. We all can say we saw the video, but he ain't doing anything crazy before a Wednesday practice. He's not doing anything crazy before a Thursday or Friday practice. So if you see more videos today or tomorrow, you might react the same way. But there are things that he would be willing to do for a Sunday football game that he's not going to be willing to do during the course of the week. And that's not me saying that I know he'll be fine. It's me saying we are overreacting to this video and forgetting key context clues here as well.
I hear you. I'm not enough of an expert to know. I've had a couple of those shots, quote unquote, in my day just because of tendonitis and things, and I wanted to go play in a golf tournament. And
yep.
I had a tournament on Saturday, and I got a shot on Tuesday, and I played. I've had them. I don't know how they impact a bone bruise versus
100%, right?
Yeah, I don't know all of that stuff, but the guy yesterday, that guy's not playing Sunday. That guy yesterday. Now that might not be the same guy Saturday, to your point, or Sunday at 9:30 when he comes in there and they jab him. But that guy, I can't figure out for the life of me why the Ravens would have allowed that to be published yesterday.
Well, they can't stop it.
Well, they kind of can. I mean, they can.
The only way they can stop it is if they purposely say we're not. And the only weird if you want me to get, and I saw what you said this morning at your website. The only weird part about it to me is in the past they wouldn't do anything offensively when reporters were out there.
Right.
Right. Like it was so. And this is admittedly me having not since COVID began. I have not covered. Frankly, the moment I didn't have to cover any football practices any longer, I said I'm going to choose not to go because there is nothing more soul-crushing to me than watching a football practice. And that's just me personally. Like I'm not interested in that. So maybe this has been a change for years, and I just don't know about. But it used to be back in the day they would let you watch special teams practice and nothing else. That was all you were allowed to see, and they would send you back in.
If they would have really cared yesterday, they would have done one of two things. They would have kept him out for the first 20 minutes when you were allowed to be there,
right?
Or they would have just gone inside.
Well, yeah, correct. And
I mean, so there had to be some reason, some train of thought there that they wanted that to be seen, and I just can't figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially with John.
I hear you. That's the type of.
But again, I keep saying this. As much as we've seen, and Josh Johnson wasn't terrible the other day, but they were never winning with him. As much as we've seen how the league is, if they get this kid back and he's healthy, and that's a big if because I have no idea if he's healthy or not, and this could be one of those Raven injuries where he's finally be back in 2 days, and then in 2 weeks he may get surgery. I have no idea, right?
Right.
If this kid comes back and he's healthy, he can beat anybody on his own.
100%.
He could go to Tennessee, and the Ravens could win 36-30 because Lamar runs for 144 yards and throws 2 touchdowns, and there's a penalty flag at the end of the game, and he can beat anybody.
I agree with everything you're saying, and it's why all the conversation. I think it's just best if the Ravens don't make the playoffs. Get the F out of here. You know, like I'm not. You're not getting me to do that. My point is, I need to see the Ravens do it before I start caring about what happens in these other games.
Yeah.
Like that's my is like I need to see that. I need to see Lamar Jackson be healthy and do Lamar Jackson things. And if he does, then you're right. I'm going to care a whole lot more about the results of these other games when that becomes the case. But until I see it, the reality feels like it's not really going to matter what happens in these other games to me until I see that, until that changes. That's
right.
just where I'm at.
I would agree. I just think, well, you know how I am. I mean, I subscribe to the same thing. Like, if you got to try to get in, and this is not. This is different. Although I think you and I kind of have a small philosophical disagreement on this too. But this is way different than if you're 4-13, 4-12 going into the game, and 5-11 going into the game, and you say, who cares if we win?
100.
Like, this is a different argument.
Yes.
This is, can we win 2 games and get in the playoffs and then roll the dice?
Yes.
And the answer always should be.
Always. There's no debate about it.
Right. And this is the one thing, and this is where in general people, I don't want to say this and sound terrible, but this is where people who haven't been around coaches, meaning even in our world, with you and I who have been around coaches for a long time, this is where when you aren't around coaches, you don't quite get it, and you hopefully rely on people in the media that share it with you, and you listen. Like, these guys are all they need in their mind.
Right.
All we need is just a chance to get in.
And by the way, I can't believe that you would need. I can't believe that anybody with a brain would.
I know, but people like this is. We're in the era. We're in this decade of, I think, outside the box.
Yeah, but it's not really that. It's just say anything. I mean, that's really what
guess.
the era is. Really, let me just say anything for the sake of saying it to see if it gets me attention.
But this is the thing, right? And this is what coaches will say that people don't get. But I'm going to use Brandon Stevens as an example.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very up and down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drafted him, had some high expectations for him. Wasn't very good at the beginning of the year. Kind of started to uptick a little bit.
Sure.
He's a guy. He's a perfect example of this. He's a guy that if the Ravens got a couple of playoff games, he could really benefit from that. He's a guy that going to Tennessee or going to.
But who couldn't?
Okay, but Mark Andrews might not. Andrews is already a great player.
Okay,
but a guy like Brandon Stevens or Chris Westry or Rashad Bateman, any of these guys who nothing ever replaces the first time, right? Nothing replaces that. Nothing replaces that. Like if I ever. I would love to. If I ever got in the U.S. Senior Open again, I would be way, way better prepared the second time.
No question.
Than I was the first time because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
Nothing replaces it.
I could barely tell by your score.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, and I actually played okay. That's the thing. So if these guys could just get in somehow, everyone benefits from it. And that's even if they lose 30-10.
I agree. There is no there is no compelling argument for at this point. Again, to your point, we talk about it when you're 4. And even I'm not in no world do I think that the team should stop trying when they're 4-11. I'm just openly rooting for them to lose. But there's no argument ever for a team to stop trying. Now with the in baseball it's a different conversation, and we can talk about that at some point. But in football, my God, stop. All right. Do we know when we're going to Helping Up yet? Do we have that figured out at all?
Not yet. They said check in next week.
All right. Hopefully that's coming soon. We're hopefully getting. By the way, we have a problem.
Okay.
I have a conference room that's full at this point. I mean, full.
Good. Okay.
So we're gonna have to figure that out. I think I might have a solution, but we will deal with that.
I've got plenty of people. We can get vehicles. That's not a problem.
All right. At It's a Hooded Foreign on Twitter, of course, is how you follow him. Drew'sMorningDish.com. Happy New Year, pal. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay,
all right?
you too. See you. Bye.
It's Drew Forrester. Winding down for the week and for the year here on GCR. Coming up on Monday night, Stan the Fan is back. He and Ross Grimsley will be talking baseball with you again every Monday throughout the course of 2022. At Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, and the next day at PressBoxOnline.com/video. It returns this coming Monday night, January 3rd. Stan the Fan with you twice a week, including every Monday talking baseball with Ross Grimsley. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit. We'll get Tuba to wrap it up. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
What's up, everybody? This is Tyus Bowser. I can't wait to see you guys for the Tyus Bowser Show this fall. We're going to be taking the show on the road all over the area. You can meet me and my very special guests. If you can't make it out, you can watch the show on live on PressBox Facebook page or listen the next day. Find out more about where we'll be by checking out PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. We'll see you all season long for the Tyus Bowser Show.
Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A Catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
Window Depot Depot Baltimore provides the highest quality Pro Via windows, doors, and siding for all budgets. The best is finally affordable. Call them today for a free in-home consultation at 410-941-3499. They also offer Zoom and FaceTime consultations in an effort to practice social distancing. A proud sponsor of the Tyus Bowser Show. You can find out more at WindowDepotBaltimore.com.
Hey, it's KZ. The Pressbox Fantasy Football Show is back, as always, on Thursdays. You can catch it at 11:30. We're brought to you this year, CCBC and Glory Days Grill. You can catch the show two ways, Facebook.com/PressboxSports or PressboxOnline.com/radio. The /radio is if you want to listen. On Facebook is if you actually want to see my ugly face. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. DFS, daily lineups, keepers, all kinds of fun stuff. Please tune in, Pressbox Fantasy Football Show, every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. If you miss anything, don't forget that you can find whole shows later on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon Podcasts. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Mobile One full synthetic motor oil helps extend engine life. Visit your local Jiffy Lube service center. Ask for Mobile One. Winding down for the week, for the year. Thank you all for your continued support of the program. It's never a great time to have that emotional, gushy. I was doing it on Monday when I was drunk. But thank you all. Appreciate everybody who's tuned in, and we are continuing to strive to be even better moving forward, and looking forward to that. So we will see you back here on Monday. All right, Tidbit brought to you today by Window Nation. I keep trying to tell you, this is it. This is truly your last chance. Today and tomorrow, your final opportunities. Take advantage of this deal. 50% off all style windows, a house of windows for only $99 a month, 866-90Nation or windownation.com.
All right, so one of these, this isn't really the tidbit, but I thought it was cool. Somehow I've made it this far in my life not knowing that Tiger Woods and LeBron James share a birthday.
Okay, I did not know that either.
I had no idea. Tiger Woods, he has the two longest streaks of weeks spent at number one in the world, 281 from June of 2005 to October of 2010, 264 weeks from August of 99.
You probably said that today was the birthday for those guys.
Yeah.
You said they share a birthday, but you didn't
which
say.
is today.
Yeah,
which
that part seems relevant.
Which
yes.
is today.
Yes.
But he has a 264-week stint from August 99 to September 2004 and 281-week stint from June 2005 to October 2010. Nobody else in the history of golf has ever had a streak longer than of even 100 weeks.
I mean,
that's how good Tiger Woods.
Sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, the real tidbit. Lamar Jackson returned to the practice field Wednesday for the first time since injuries angle against the Browns on December 12th. While Tyler Huntley and Josh Johnson have filled in admirably, the Ravens have sorely missed their MVP quarterback. For his career, Lamar Jackson is second in Ravens history in passing and third in rushing. He is one of 4 active quarterbacks to be top 10 for his franchise in both categories and one of 13 quarterbacks in the history of the game to accomplish the feat. And his 51 starts are the fewest of any quarterback to accomplish that feat. Who are the other 12 quarterbacks in NFL history to be both top 10 in rushing and passing all time for their franchises?
Vic.
Michael Vick. Yes, he is 5th in passing, 7th in rushing in Falcons history.
Steve Young.
Steve Young, yes, he is 3rd in passing, 9th in rushing in 49ers history.
Fran Tarkenton.
Fran Tarkenton is not on the list.
That's surprising.
I was surprised too.
Randall Cunningham.
Randall Cunningham for the Eagles is 3rd all-time in passing and 6th all-time in rushing.
This is going to sound dumb, but just because they have this short history. Oh, because it includes the Oilers history. Never mind. I was going to say, I'll still say Steve McNair.
Steve McNair. 2nd in passing in Titans Oilers history and 7th in rushing.
What I was going to say was Vince Young, but I was thinking it was only in Titans history, and so that would have worked. But no, because it includes the Oilers history, it does not work. Top 10 all time in both, and you said 4 of them are active.
4 of them are active.
So I haven't named one active one yet, so I should probably name some of those. Active that are. I don't know. Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson for the Texans, 2nd in passing, 7th in rushing.
You're counting him as active.
Yeah, he hasn't retired.
Right.
Technically, neither is Charles.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. He is 1st in passing, 5th in rushing all time for the Seahawks. There's a couple guys on here that you're just never going to get.
Cam Newton, of course.
Cam Newton, 1st in passing, 3rd in rushing for the Panthers.
Is the other one? I'm going to just Aaron Rodgers.
No. I thought he might be too. He's not.
There's one more active one. There's too much. It's not Dak Prescott. There's too much history there. Other one. Active. Top 10 in both. Active. Top 10 in both.
And actually, this would be the fifth guy that's active. He doesn't play, but he's active. This is one of those guys I never thought you would get. Because when I counted this last night, I didn't count him, but I'm counting him now because he is still in the NFL.
Marcus Mariota.
No. Because that would be Titans hit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yes. Man, you're making this more confusing for me. Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
He is second in passing all time and eighth in rushing all time.
There's so little history that works for the Jaguars.
Can
so those are all the active ones?
Yes.
I've gotten all the active ones. So the others would be...
You have 4 left.
Jeff Blake.
No.
How about... Jesus. How about Donovan McNabb?
Donovan McNabb, first in passing, 10th in rushing all-time Eagles history.
Just 3 more.
2 of these guys, you might get one.
Colin Kaepernick.
No.
Unless there's too much history there, too. Yeah. John Elway.
John Elway, first in passing, 7th in rushing for the Broncos.
How about... Man.
I'm surprised you haven't had too many misses today.
I've had a few.
Yeah, not too many, though.
How about... No, there's too much. I was going to say Cordell Stewart, but there's too much history there. Dante Culpepper.
I thought about him, too, but no.
He wasn't really a runner. Jeff Garcia.
No.
He ran a little bit.
Yeah.
Alex Smith.
No.
All right, I'm struggling.
So
I'm
they both
slowing
played
down.
for the same team.
They both played for the same
You've
team.
already named this team once.
With a correct answer?
Yes.
Well, let's go.
The one guy you're when you realize, if you don't get it when you realize, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, because he's easy to forget.
It's easy to forget.
Because it's been
Both
so long since he
for the
played.
Same team. So, is it a Falcon?
No.
Is it a 49er?
No.
Is it an Eagle?
No. If you have 3 guys from the same team, chances are that team hasn't been around too long.
So it's a Panther.
No.
It's a Jaguar.
It's a Jaguar.
Byron Leftwich.
No.
David Garrard.
David Garrard, 3rd in passing, 9th in rushing. Your last guy
Mark
is
Brunell.
Mark Brunell.
Oh, yeah.
1st in passing, 5th in rushing.
All right.
Garrard was 3rd in passing,
Not a
9th
bad
in
list.
rushing.
Not a bad one. Not bad at all. All right, Tidbit was also brought to you today by I already did that one. It's brought to you by Live Casino Hotel. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks. Watch all the action from the best seat in the house. Tubular brought to you by Chick-fil-A, your local Chick-fil-A restaurants. If you're looking for a simple holiday meal, try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app. Bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details. Here's what's coming up. I'm only going to do tonight. We're going to post Tubular again tomorrow for the rest of the weekend. Part of the problem is, again, we just don't know what's going to be canceled. And as of the moment, Maryland's still supposed to be playing basketball tonight against Brown, 7 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. The bowl games, right now, North Carolina and South Carolina on ESPN and the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So if you were interested in getting that mayo dumped on you, you might enjoy that. The Music City Bowl, Tennessee and Purdue at 3. The Peach Bowl, Pitt and Michigan State at 7. The Las Vegas Bowl, Wisconsin, Arizona State at 10:30, all on ESPN. Pro Football Hall of Fame finalist announcement is tonight at 5 o'clock on the NFL Network. When they get down to 15, they'll go debate in the room Super Bowl week. NBC Sports Washington, Cavs, Wizards at 7 o'clock. NBA TV, Sixers, Nets at 7, Warriors, Nuggets at 9:30. NBCSN, Man U, and Burnley at 3:10. You know, after tomorrow, there is no NBC Sports Network any longer.
Really?
It just goes away forever. There's somebody, I think ESPN Classic goes away forever.
Wow.
After tomorrow. And the WWE Network for NXT UK at 3, Impact Wrestling at 8 on Access TV. Anything non-sports-wise?
You thought yesterday was bad. Real slim pickings tonight. Fear Thy Neighbor at 9 and New Year's Nightmare at 10 on Investigation Discovery. Season 4, Part A of Young Justice, HBO Max original premieres today. That's really it.
All right. Well, that's what it is. I don't even know, by the way, if they're getting all the... As far as the rest of the weekend is concerned, the semifinals are tomorrow. They're both on ESPN. And ESPN's doing all the big blowout, ESPN2, ESPNU. Everybody's got a different broadcast on all the ESPN networks for the semifinals. You can go to glennclarkradio.com and find it all out for tomorrow.
Yeah, I forgot that we weren't doing a show tomorrow, so I didn't do the weekend, but I'll do it
Get
tonight,
on it.
and
Get on it.
I'll post it to the website for you.
Very good. All right. Hey, don't forget, speaking of things we're still trying to make happen, the Tyus Bowser Show. Appreciate all your patience. Appreciate all our partners, MyBookie, Grade 8's Memorabilia, Press Box, as well as Duffy's Garage in Baldwin, Duffy'sGarageMD.com, Window Depot Baltimore, WindowDepotBaltimore.com. They've all been wonderful, and we're trying to pull it off for you guys. We're trying to make it happen. Just don't know, but stay tuned. We're gonna keep efforting that, try to do one more before we get into the off season. All right. Thanks to everybody at Pressbox, all of our great sponsors and partners. Oh, I should thank the guests. Thanks to Drew. Thanks to the Senator. And thanks to KZ. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the
Archives
tab at glennclarkradio.com. Thanks to everybody at Pressbox, sponsors and partners, CCBC, Glory Days Grill, Window Nation, Royal Farms, ExxonMobil, K&S Automotive, the Maryland Lottery, Grade 8's Memorabilia, Live Casino and Hotel, Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants, the Maryland Department of Transportation, Underdog Fantasy Football, Duffy's Garage in Baldwin, Window Depot, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, and MyBookie. Thanks to Paul Valley. Follow him on Twitter at Paul Valley III. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be safe. Be safe. Happy New Year. Go anybody who might play, including the Ravens. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.